Ramin, welcome to the Inside Giant Tech podcast. How are you doing?
Thank you.
How's things?
Very good.
You've flown all the way from New York to be here.
Yes, I flew actually from Tokyo.
Oh, okay.
Before that, I was in Tokyo.
You're based in New York, and then you had to go to
travel everywhere. Yeah.
Okay, and you're the CEO and founder of Liquid AI.
Correct.
How long have you been in this role?
2.5 years now.
Okay,
Yes.
so explain what is Liquid AI.
Yeah, definitely. So Liquid is a foundation model company. So we're building AI systems like ChatGPT that can go on devices. So we're bringing that kind of experience, like that amount of kind of knowledge, directly running on devices. Think about inside a car intelligence. Think about on your phone, you have private data that you want to share it outside, but you want to use AI anyways. You don't like your medical history, personal kind of finances and legal matters and everything. So you want to do everything in a private way. So
Ideally, yes.
Ideally, but then, you're desperate to use AI to, process some sort of an information. Imagine you're signing a new contract, and then as when you're signing this contract, like you cannot really share all of this contract information to ChatGPTs of the world. Why? Because it goes to the cloud. And you don't want to share that information there. Why? Because there might be sensitive information. So you want to do everything kind of local. Mm-hmm. We are the guys that are designing kind of a complex AI systems like a ChatGPT kind of experience directly on device. And the company, Liquid AI, we are a 2.5 years old company. It's spun out of MIT. I've been 10 years AI scientist, doing all sort of crazy science, to really take a completely different approach to designing artificial intelligence, where we started, believe it or not, we started looking into brain of a little worm.
Okay. That's not what I expected you to say.
I know.
Yeah, okay.
And then to get inspired and see how neurons exchange information with each other in the brain of the worm.
Why a worm?
Why the worm? And because the worm in 2015 was the only animal on Earth that we had its entire nervous system mapped. The only animal. We didn't know anything about rats, anything about monkeys, anything about humans. So we just knew this worm. This worm is 2 millimeters long. Its body is transparent.
Yeah.
And neuroscientists love this thing because they can grow it in the lab, and it is kind of massively available on the rotten vegetation, usually in forests.
You don't need to go far to find worms.
Yeah, exactly. You know where to find your worms. Anyway, so then the worm is it has only 302 neurons in its nervous system, as opposed to humans. Humans have 86 billion to 100 billion neurons in their nervous system. So when I was actually looking into biology, and I wanted to take a first principles approach, really getting down to what is intelligence, So I wanted to start from an animal that we know everything about its brain, so that we can then evolve that system into more and more complex AI systems, right? So this is back in 10 years ago, exactly. And we started our research on can we build AI systems inspired by biology?
Yeah.
And why the worm was also attractive, because it shares 78% similarity to genome of humans.
Okay.
In the tree of evolution, it's one of our fathers. 600 million years ago, we got split from this worm. The worm has also won 4 Nobel Prizes for us.
So you use the worm for the basis of your entire business, effectively.
Correct. Yes. So we started with the brain of the worm. This was a scientific kind of thing. So we were working on really getting the, understanding how neurons exchange information with each other. We did that. We formulated that. We got inspired by the brain of the worm. Then we built kind of artificial neural networks that we called liquid neural networks. That was the thesis. That was the title of my thesis in PhD. And I was working with Professor Daniela Rus, who is the director of computer science and artificial intelligence lab at MIT. Mm-hmm. And we've been pushing these boundaries of science to build a completely new approach to intelligence, and that became Liquid AI.
Ramin, I have to be honest with you. When I woke up this morning, I never thought I'd be learning about worm history, especially 600 million years ago, or talking about it here at GITEX. But it's fascinating stuff. Moving away from the worm, if we can. It's a fantastic story, by the way, and I absolutely love it. What is agentic AI? What does that mean?
Yeah, so agentic AI is referring to, there are 2 definitions in the industry. The one that is more scientifically accurate, I'll tell you what it is. So imagine you have a goal. An agent is a system that can receive the goals, you tell the goal. The goal could be as simple as book my travel. That's the goal.
From New York to Tokyo to Dubai.
Correct. And then the system is going to go through an iterative cycle of trial and error using some tools like the internet, websites, and everything else to really get the systems to achieve that goal.
Yeah.
So that's the true definition of an agent, an AI agent working to complete a task.
So what's the difference between that and a chatbot and a virtual personal assistant?
So then, like a chatbot is like an input-output system. It doesn't necessarily have a goal. You ask it a question, it provides you with an answer. But you might use a chatbot in the pipeline to build an AI agent. Because an agentic kind of AI is the place where goals are getting set. Then you try to find out what are the software compartments that you have to add to this whole workflow to enable that goal. So that becomes kind of the agentic AI.
So what would this AI agent, what's it able to do? Let's say, for businesses or individuals, give me a working practical example.
100%. As I said, like as the smallest example would be like booking my travels,
So how would that work?
Do my taxes.
So you use it through your mobile, through an app?
Yeah.
App interface. Okay.
Very similar to a chatbot kind of app, right? Like the chatbot, you can actually enable an agent mode, like today, like in many kind of applications. And then, so what the AI does, it just goes through that iterative cycle of really like achieving your goal. And that goal would be like the chat interface. You say, hey, you know what? I want to shop a black bag, okay, from, let's say this tier of brands. Mm-hmm. I want to spend $100 to like $500, like you define your range. These are becoming the goals of the agent. And the agent now access into the internet and the entire internet, the better it gets, it can actually go and execute on that shop. And it can bring you, like, let's say the 4 most relevant ones for your consumption, So this would be a lot more targeted than an open-ended search.
So is there a big misconception around these AI agents being able to take their own initiatives? Is that actually happening, or is that just a misconception? Taking their own initiatives on your behalf.
Yeah, they can do that.
So rather than you waiting for a prompt, they're like, I kind of know that Ramin is interested in 1, 2, 3. He's done it for the last 100%. Few weeks. I'm going to take the initiative.
That's it. You can have like the amazing thing about generative AI is these ideas of systems being able to understand language as good as humans. Understanding language is just allowing these AI agents to really basically take whatever you want to give to it. Like, for example, you have preferences, or you have like a memory lane of, let's say, whatever you've done in the past.
Yeah.
You can dump all of this information inside this AI agent, and it would take all of those into account when it is taking a decision on your behalf.
So where's the balance with giving too much control to these agents?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So the reason why we are being very experimental about agentic AI is exactly because of the fact of control. You want humans to be always in control of the things that they do.
You would hope.
Exactly. So usually in the when a technology comes in, usually the first version of the technologies come from in games. You deploy AI agents in games. Why? Because if they make a wrong decision, what happens? It's a simulation, so everything is happening in a game. You're in a you put a new feature inside a game. Like if anything goes wrong, what can happen? It's just in that simulated environment. So a lot of simulation, like think about the games. The same goes with the shopping experience. Companies, when they design AI systems, like foundation model companies like us, when we design agentic AI, we really build very large scale simulators first. So that we can actually control the behavior of the agents, so that we can identify what are those places, guardrails basically. What are those places where you don't want to actually get into? And that is kind of the process into building a production quality agentic AI that we can put in the hand of consumers.
I'm with you. So we mentioned it in the hand of consumers. So when you're building the business model for Liquid AI, is it in mind you're building these agents for enterprises and it's an enterprise solution, or is it for individual? Don't say both. When you were developing it, what was the initial premise? What is the answer to the challenge that you want to create?
Great question. So we are focusing on enterprise layer. For us, like our business is always B2B. Why? Because we are at the model layer. We are a foundational company. So we are, as I mentioned, like a foundation model company. What does that mean? That means we build the AIs from scratch. We don't just take a system and download a piece of software from somewhere else. We train the AI systems from the day zero that they have no information to the point where they are actually a true agentic AI. And we are the model provider for solution builders on top of it. So that's why enterprises, like you can imagine, like consumer electronics, they love our stuff. Like think about Apple Intelligence. Apple Intelligence is powered by an AI that is powering it, right? Today, that AI, 90% of Apple Intelligence, whatever happens on the phone, it actually goes to an AI, a cloud-based AI. Doesn't have the on-device element. We focus on the on-device and private applications of AI. The reason why we chose to go through like the on-device kind of portion was because of the values that our innovation at MIT, the worm-inspired technology, actually enabled us to do. When you look into biology, your brain is powered by 20 watts of power.
Not worms. There's no worms.
Tiny little amount of heart. So the energy consumption of our solutions that we're building are significantly lower than anything else that is out there. Because the energy footprint is so low, you can run it on a typical hardware. You can run our liquid AI models on a coffee machine. You can run it on a CPU that is mounted on a toy, on a phone, on a laptop, on a starship. Like you can think about like on any kind of device that exists on our planet.
Yes.
We can enable AI on top of that. So, and then enterprises, they like that model layer because we are the model providers to the enterprises. They can build then the agentic workflows on top of liquid AI's solutions. That's where we stand. Like we're the model provider.
So, Ramin, I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
And I want you to really think about the answer before you.
Oh boy.
So, when will AI become sentient? When will it be able to think for itself, act on someone else's behalf, and be able to self-learn and develop? How far are we from that happening?
So I can tell you from the technology perspective, I think the core building blocks of such a system is already in existence. We can build AI systems that are extremely good. They can have like we call it something called recursive self-improvement. So that's kind of a new technology that you can make an AI to go into an infinite loop of computations, so that it can. But it's still
a loop.
Yeah.
But it's still. I'm talking about new developments. So imagine you open up, you break up that loop, and it's now all of a sudden it's an open pathway.
It can go. Yes. So there's a new generation of companies that are emerging in Silicon Valley, like as we see, which is called AI scientists.
So I'm looking for a caption here. How far? I'm going to push you again. How far are we from AI becoming sentient?
Well, again, it all goes back to definition of what do you want that sentient system to do?
Thinking for itself.
Yes, it's already there.
Self-learning.
Yes.
Emotional human functionality.
Yeah. So there's the mimicry of emotional is going on is even today. All three the things that you just mentioned, from a technology point of view, you can witness that behavior even today with the most advanced.
Does that scare you?
It makes me excited, but it's like, if you focus on the scale of our what's it called, universe, does that scare you?
Well,
the scale of if you start like looking into the scale of our universe.
I tell you what's humans have always tried to push for the next biggest thing, right? The latest, going back to the printing presses, electricity. People used to plow the fields. Now there's a lot of technology that removes the workforce. Things evolve, things change, they develop. That's what humans have always done. Here's what really is the crazy thing. We are just at the very, very, very beginning of the AI journey.
Yes.
And life has already been dramatically disrupted. In the last 12 months, there's been 5 years worth of previous change. That's only going to speed up.
Yeah.
And people's awareness and understanding and openness to change will also be an accelerator. So there's a human dynamic that we have to factor in. Not just the tech and the AI advancements. The more and more people are starting to wake up and realize actually everything is shifting. They want to get on board. That's when you start reaching critical mass, and that speed will only accelerate even further. So what scares me isn't the inevitability. What scares me is just how things are changing right in front of our eyes, and that I am not able to keep up and keep pace. That's the scary thing for me.
That's true. Yeah. So I mean, for you and me, we have to be scared.
No, you shouldn't be. You're the one who's leading it. I'm the one doing the interview.
No. I'm talking about as a person in a society.
Yeah.
Let's not
remove the liquid AI.
Remove all of those things. As a person in a society that is actually going through this change, right?
Okay.
The most exciting thing about this thing is for our children. The most fascinating thing for me is like for our kids.
Do you have kids?
I don't have kids.
Okay.
But
you can have
maybe
one of mine if you like.
yeah. How many kids do you
I
have?
have two
Okay,
boys.
That's awesome.
Tough,
How old are
tough.
they?
3 and 2. So
fantastic. So by the time they're 8 years old, how old are you?
I'm 43.
Okay, great. So you played some video games.
Played a lot.
There we go.
I was a Mario guy. The old Nintendo NES, way before your time.
How old do you think I am?
You're late 30s, max.
That's true, actually. Like I'm 36. So
max late 30s.
Max
late 30s.
All right. So you and me played we are the generation that played, somebody designed a game for us and put it in our hands.
Yeah.
And we just played that game because it was just available in the store. We were just getting it.
So tell me, when they're 8 years old, what's going to happen?
Your
5 years
8 years
time.
old is going to come in and design their own games.
Yeah.
Humans are becoming orchestrators. They're going to become creators. They're going to become much more in the decision-making kind of situation. They're going up the ladder. This happens for our kids. And why do I like this thing about the kids? Because that is the evolutionary impact of this technology.
Yeah.
Because those are the people that are their brains are going to get wired.
Yeah.
If you look into their brains are going to be completely differently wired than you and me. Because we learned math in a completely different way.
Definitely the worm brain as well will also look very, very different.
100%, you know. So what I'm saying is that change inside like a person's, I think that implication is much more fascinating in terms of like long-term impact of this technology on our lives than you and me being like kind of experiencing this change.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is something that I feel like a lot of scientists are focusing on because education is something that is like getting massively targeted by these unbelievable technology.
So you mentioned education. So what will agentic AI change the most? The way we create, the way we learn, or the way we work? Pick one. Don't say all three, because it is going to be all three.
It makes our lives faster and cleaner, less noise.
So it's going to impact more the way we work, how we learn, or
the
how
way
we
we work, obviously, you know, it's like agentic AI is definitely going to change the way we work.
Okay.
You know, and the way we spend our time.
Okay.
You know, so you might be in a family gathering. You're sitting with your your family and you're having like a coffee or something. You just remember, oh, wait a second, I needed to do that something at work. You know, can you just go figure it out? You know, and the agentic AI can actually figure that out. You know, so peace of mind, less noise, less frustration. So what Elon is always saying is that like the purpose of all of these technology is maximizing a human serotonin. You know, so we want human happiness. You know, and we want to increase that.
We want that dopamine shot. A couple of last questions. So, what is an insight that you've sort of amassed during your time working and developing Liquid AI? An insight that's unique to you and to your business that you'd like to share?
Well, this whole thing is kind of a fairy tale, you know. For me, it started by just being a deep scientist, like working with my 4 co-founders, and just trying to discover and hopefully doing a scientific discovery on the verge of like winning a Nobel Prize kind of things. You know, like that was like our kind of goal. Understanding intelligence was our goal.
Yeah.
Then I started tasting this power of putting a technology and an advancement in the hand of people. I started seeing the impact of the technology really fast, and I was like, wow, I got chills. I got like, oh my God, like putting technology in the hand of people directly, being able to do that was a phenomenal kind of experience. And that has been like even getting more and more, it's getting scaled. The demand for people wanting to have like agentic AI and AI in their hands, you know, is increasing all the time. And that's just the most fascinating thing. And I never thought that this is going to be like the evolution of when we started looking into biology to get inspired about a scientific discovery into turning it like into a generational kind of thing that enables planet scale deployment of artificial intelligence in the hand of everyone.
Last question, GITEX, what are expectations this week?
This was huge. This is my first GITEX. You know, I'm going to have like a talk later on at 4.
Good luck.
Thank you very much. And a lot of meetings, a lot of high quality conversations are happening here. I really enjoyed this one. It's massive. It's very well organized. And I think this is going to be one of my favorite ones that I will keep coming.
Amazing. And hopefully you've enjoyed this conversation as well. Ramin, it's been great having you on. Thank you for joining us at Inside GITEX, and hope to see you very, very soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you.